This is PTFC Driven, presented by Toyota. I'm Nat Borchers. We are interviewing Thorns and Timbers players to talk about adversity in their soccer careers. In this installment, we interview Portland Timbers outside back Jorge Villafaña. Jorge tells an incredible story about how he got picked for Sueño MLS, which means MLS dream. Here is our conversation with Jorge. I want to hear about Sueño and how that came to be. So can we go back to that moment and kind of...
Thanks for inviting me to this. I think I remember a great opportunity of Sueño. You know, I'm thankful for that opportunity, but with that came a lot of obstacles during the beginning of my career. It started in 2007. I was still in high school. I remember I was still in high school.
Okay.
So I remember the MLS put this tryouts. We're gonna have this tryouts. Sign up and all that stuff. You know, you have to sign up. You have to go to the internet and fill out the form.
So you found out on the internet there was this opportunity to try out.
It was on the internet and then also televised. I think it was Univision. They were like, there's going to be this new opportunity. MLS is looking for talent. And
so it was really more geared toward Latin players, right? Because it was on Univision and it was called Sueño, which is Spanish for dream.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a Spanish for dream. So it was more driven towards, Latin players. Mm-hmm. And it was more in Chivas USA during that time. So, Chivas USA identified by the owners and everything by Chivas Guadalajara. So, it was more towards Latin players.
Yeah.
I was 17. Before that, I remember I tried out for Chivas USA, I think 3-4 months ago. And it didn't go as planned. I went out and they said, "Oh, you guys, we'll let you know." So the guys that we think they can come back and do another tryout, but the rest of you guys will thank you, and I think you guys need to work a little bit more. And I was one of them. They said you need to work a little bit more. So obviously, to 16, 17 almost, you get a little bummed out, and you're like, maybe it's not for me. So when Sueño came, my family members, and they said, I think you should go. And I'm like, I just went and they told me this. I was like, nah, So,
right.
So it was.
So you've already been let down on one tryout. You're like, well, why should I go again?
Yeah, I was already let down, and not too long ago. Mm-hmm. So I was like, should I go? So I went the last day,
Okay, so it was multiple days to try out.
So you have to remember. I said you have to sign up, and then you get like an email.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I went actually it was the first day of the trials. Mm-hmm. So I went without going into the signing, and all of that. And they said, well, if no one comes, we'll let you put the bib and let you try it out.
Okay.
So I went there and I was just waiting, and they said, we need one more, and they let me go in. And it was crazy because I didn't sign up. I wasn't gonna go, so I was just to go and see. And
so you hadn't even signed up. You just showed up there, and they're like, "Hey, we need an extra player. Here you go."
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And I remember I did good on the first tryouts. I was playing as a left wing. Back then, I was playing as a left wing.
Yep.
And I think it was 11-11 for, I don't remember, it was 15 or 20 minutes where they had 3 fields. And so they did a lot of games. So it was my opportunity. I don't know if I made a goal or an assist. And then at the end of those 20 minutes, they said, well, you are going to stay here because you guys are going to have another tryout in 30 minutes or an hour.
Oh, wow. So you made the next cut right there.
I made the next cut out of, 2000 people that were like trying out, like
Oh wow.
kids, young kids. Well, I was 17 at the time, but I remember hearing people that say, "Oh, how old are you?" I say, I'm 24. You know, I'm 23.
Mhm.
And me being 17, I'm like, damn, they're older.
Yeah. You're a young player compared to those players.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they're old. I don't have a chance. I said that, that, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
have a chance because
Yeah.
they're already bigger. So at the end of that day, they put all the guys in the middle of one field,
Mhm.
and they call out a list. I don't remember how many, but it was 2000, and they were like counting them down. So they called the names and they said, "You guys are coming back next week
Okay.
on the weekend to
Mhm.
do another tryout." So they were cutting. So it was like that.
Yeah.
And then until it got to the 24, the remaining 24.
Okay.
And they called my name again, and they said, "Well, now that we have this 24, we're gonna play against the U19s. I remember U19s, Chivas USA U19s,
Okay.
but that was gonna be in the actual stadium. It's not Staffheim anymore. It's been through so many names that I don't
Yeah.
remember the name anymore. So
Yeah.
we're gonna play there.
Yeah. So
Again.
was it? It wasn't the former Home Depot Center.
Yeah, former Home Depot Center.
Yeah. Okay.
Former Home Depot Center. So this was 3 weeks already in 3 weeks. So
Yep.
the first tryout, then the next cut, and then the final 24.
Okay.
And then I think the fourth trial is to play with them.
Yeah.
Then from there they were gonna decide who was gonna be the actual winner of Sueño.
Right.
So we went there. They split the groups and 11-11s, and we play against them. Actually, I think that was actually a 30-minute, two halves.
Okay.
So one half or 45, I don't remember really well. So one half is gonna play some of the 11, and then other half some of the other 11. And I just remember I was just I was feeling it during those during those tryouts. I think I was like making good decisions, and I felt really good. So at the end of that game, I remember I scored a goal, and during that game, a header or something out of a corner kick, and I felt really happy. I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
you know.
Usually you don't get up there for set pieces, Jorge. That's
Yeah, no, I usually I'm
that's
straight.
unusual. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go. So
Yeah.
I went up there and get a header, score, feeling really happy, getting that sense of, oh, wow, I might make it,
Mhm.
maybe I'm gonna be one of those that they're gonna put in an eye and maybe choose me as the winner. And then they said, well, thank you guys. We know it's been an amazing ride with you guys this whole month. Uh, we've been impressed with some of you guys, and we'll let you know. We'll call you to let you know who the actual winner is gonna be at, and then you guys are gonna be practicing with the U19s for a week
Mhm.
until we decide who the actual winner is.
Oh,
So
geez.
after that, we went and almost did like a tryout with the actual academy U19s.
So there was 24 of you that played that game against the under 19s. Then you're training with.
They call us and they say, "Oh, you just showed up to Bell Gardens because they had a complex there where
Yep.
they used to train."
Mhm.
And I remember they called me and then they said, "Showed up. We're gonna have practice." I don't remember if it was Wednesday and Friday.
And how many of you are there at this point in time?
7. At
7.
this
Okay, so
point,
24 to
7.
7. Okay.
You don't know who they call. So
Yeah.
I showed up and I remember seeing the faces, and it was 7 guys that they chose to practice with the U19. So we practiced for a week or 2 weeks, and then they again said, okay, now we're gonna call you and choose. We'll let you know who the winner is. So the time went by, and I think like 3 days or 4 days. So I was playing with my club team, and I remember we had a game in the afternoon, and they called me. They told me right after the game, oh, they called us. They want you to go home because there's some people there that want to talk to you. I'm like, what people there? So
And during this process, Jorge, like mentally, like how are you feeling? Are you like feeling the pressure? Are you really, really nervous, or are you just kind of like, hey, whatever happens, happens?
actually, during that time where I knew I made the final 7, I was nervous. You
Yeah,
know, I was nervous because I'm here. You know, what if I don't make it?
yeah.
And what if I make it? You know, I was like, both of them. So when that happened, I remember it was Keegan Pierce, I think was the head PR, and at that time, Dennis the Close was
Yeah.
I don't remember the position. I just want to say whatever, but he was head of the academies, and
Okay.
then
Yep.
he was there with the Chivas USA. So both of them called me and want to congratulate you. They went to my house and you're the winner, and they
Were
gave me.
they were they there with like the TV
Yeah,
cameras and everything?
they were there with TV cameras, and my family was there, and I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
so cool.
wow, you know, I was like 17. I was like, just like, oh my god, you know what's going on?
Yeah.
This is actually happening. You know, I think my dream is coming true, and
Yeah.
you know, like, I was 17. I lived in Mexico for 14 years since I was born, and coming back 14, and then almost 2 years, 3 years later, I'm becoming a professional soccer player. So
Right.
I was like, wow, you know. And so they told me, okay, you're gonna go to Miami, and we're gonna do the reveal over there, and you're gonna put a mask, and when we say the winner, you're gonna take your mask. We're gonna give you the
Yeah.
jersey. And so they did all of that,
Mhm.
and then from there, they I didn't go with the first team or
Okay.
the reserves. I don't know if you remember, there was reserves at that time where
Yeah.
they had their separate tournament. You could say if you don't play
Yeah.
the first team, you will like travel with the team, but they play the day after.
Yep.
So I didn't have a professional contract. I was still practicing with the U19s, even though I won because they said, you know, they said, oh, like whoever wins, they're gonna have a professional contract with the league, and you're gonna
Yeah.
have maybe a pro contract with Adidas. And I was like, oh, wow, nice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when am I gonna get my contract? You know?
Yeah. So you still haven't even gotten paid yet, but you're training with the team.
I was training with the some days I will train with the U19. Some days
Yeah.
they will invite me with the first team, because at that time it was almost the summer break,
Yeah.
so I wasn't going to school.
Okay.
So it was at that time I will like go train with the first team, and then go with the U19. So I think it was around summer when the U19s went down to Mexico,
Hmm.
and we had a tournament. I made a tournament with Chivas Guadalajara, Atlas, and at that time Tecos is another team from Guadalajara.
Hmm.
And I remember we played good. I remember I felt good in those games, and at the end of those games, I think it was a week or almost 2 weeks. Um, some of the teams told me they're interested in you. Well, I think Kevin Esparza and Dennis told me, there's some teams interested in you. They want you to stay here and uh, be part of their uh, youth system. And I'm like,
And you
okay,
and
I
you had
think,
dual citizenship, right? Because you were
yeah,
born in Mexico, and so you could have
yeah,
easily signed for one of those Mexican teams, right?
yeah. I could easily just be there and not count as a foreigner. So
Sure.
um, they told me, but we don't really want you to stay. you know, we don't really want you to stay. We want you to go back to the U.S. And at that time, I didn't know why they wanted me to go back. Maybe because I mean they probably saw talent in me, but at the same time, I was like thinking later, well, maybe they didn't want to left the Sueño MLS winner down in Mexico just a few months before, you know.
That wouldn't have been good optics for
That
sure.
would have been a good optic for the
Yeah.
MLS. But I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I just, that with the years come by, I was thinking of, well, maybe this is why, they didn't want me to stay.
Yeah.
But they said, I know if you go back, they say if you go back with us, we'll give you your contract.
Mm.
So I was like, I talked to my parents, and they said, I mean, you decide. They told me, maybe they wanted to come back, but they said me, I mean, you decide if you want to stay and you want to go back. And I was still young, and I was still living with my parents in Anaheim.
Right.
I was like, this is gonna be tough if I stay. And I decided to go back, and that's when I go back and I signed my first contract, my first professional contract in 2007. I think
Wow.
August. I think August.
August.
Yeah.
So you started the Sueño tryout
March,
March of that
yeah,
year, and so
around.
you beat out 2,000 players. You whittle it down to 24-7. Then you win, and they still haven't signed you
Yeah,
until
until I go to Mexico and I almost
Mexico.
Mexico.
That's incredible, man. That's amazing. And so, looking back on that journey, what were your takeaways, from that experience?
Well, I remember like having this massive opportunity, and I guess all of the kids that tried out, the dream was to become professional soccer player, and I always had that in my mind, that I wanted to play soccer, and I wanted to be a professional soccer player, but I never thought, and it not even crossed my mind that I would become a professional soccer player, because there's one thing of thinking or wanting to be, and then another thing is just like becoming one, and I never thought it was gonna become, true, and I think it was just the perseverance, that I had once I had that opportunity, and I was able to become the winner, and I had the opportunity to go practice with the first team, and I was remember just like running like crazy in practices. Maybe I wasn't that good, technique wise, or like, but I just remember just like running and running and running and running, and just like, even if I lose the ball, it was just like running and running. And I was, and I remember it was the first one. I do remember that I was trying to be always be there on time. I always want to be there on time, and do whatever they told me, and just take the most of it. And I think that's one of the things that I take from that I didn't took it for granted. I could say that opportunity, I just wanted to like grab it and not let it go.
That's incredible. Well, Jorge Villafaña, I really appreciate you sharing your story about Sueño, and because seeing now where you're at, you've played for Chivas USA, Portland Timbers. You won championships here and then in Mexico. You had a great career. You've been capped over 20 times for the U.S. national team. It's so cool to hear your story in terms of how you got started. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and look forward to chatting with you soon.
No problem. Anytime, I'll be happy to chat with you anytime.
Thanks, bud.
No problem.